Let's try it again. Okay, we're on. We're on air. This is the third part of Victory for American Indians 2013. I'm interviewing Sir David Andrew at sirdavidandrew.com. And Sir David, you were mentioning recusing the judge. What was that all about?
Unclean hands, and there's two issues here before a judge can proceed. One, he must have clean hands, and he must do so in good faith. Anyone who goes into a courtroom must do those two things. Judge is not ignorant of the law, so he has no excuse. He was proceeding with unclean hands in bad faith. Therefore, we moved to recuse him. We recused Judge Hurd back in September with only a 9-page recusal. We hit Judge McAvoy with a 13-page recusal, and his answer was he's just going to declare Lalagouisier incompetent and lock him up in a padded cell.
Well, Dave, wait a sec. For the people listening, basically what you're saying is there's a conflict of interest here. The judge is getting money put in his pocket to prosecute these guys?
Correct. The judge receives money for every day he keeps Lalagouisier locked up in jail. What they do is they put you in jail, they issue what's called a prison bond, then they take and bundle prison bonds into securities, and on Fidelity Security Agency, you go on to the New York State Stock Exchange, and they sell these prison bonds for securities. It's all securities fraud. It's same thing as what's going on with the banking system, selling all these hedge funds and worthless bonds out there.
Dave, I know here in Seattle, if a person goes to jail, the person has to pay $15 a day for his or her own incarceration.
And a lot of states are that way as well. Anywhere from $4 to I guess maybe $15 a day for incarceration, and it's a tax that is discriminatory against the poor. It's unconstitutional. Get this in your head, folks. It's unconstitutional. A rich man makes bail, but a poor man can't make bail, so therefore the poor man made to pay. It's called debtor's prison. Debtor's prisons are unconstitutional. And we have nothing but debtor's prisons in this country.
Now, Dave,
the largest prison system in the world is the United States.
Dave, you were mentioning to me weeks ago that the government was playing the old shell game with these Indian chiefs. They were moving them around from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, prison to prison, county jail to city jail, all to try and hide them from their defense attorneys, including you. Can you go into that a little bit more and why they were playing that game?
Well, it's called diesel therapy. In other words, they try to force a man to take an attorney. And if he won't take an attorney, so that they can gain jurisdiction, because the minute you accept an attorney, then you accept the jurisdiction. I highly recommend you read Alice in Wonderland or Through the Looking Glass and The Wizard of Oz. Go read the books. Don't watch the movies. Read the books. Those books are all about corrupt court systems and how these courts work and function. And when you step in that courtroom, it is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Everyone in that courtroom who's a player of the game are mad. They're all insane. They're incompetent. Why? Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7, Sections 2, Section 4 state that in an attorney-client relationship, when you hire an attorney, you become a ward of the court. Definition in law, ward of a court, a person of unsound mind or a infant. Which one are you? It's that simple, folks. You're nuts, and everyone in there is nuts, and you gotta be nuts too, Alice. Have a hot cup of tea.
And you're not allowed to represent yourself, right?
Absolutely. And here's the reason they won't allow. That's Feretta versus California. You never represent yourself, because if you represent yourself, you have a fool for a client. If you accept representation, that is pro se or pro per or pro anything, then you accept a temporary appointment to the British Aristocratic Regency or the bar, and you become a British Crown agent. And as a British Crown agent, you are subject then to the rules of the court and the rules of the bar, and you can be thrown into prison for 179 days for contempt and fined if you don't comply with the rules. Never, never, never do you ever go pro se or represent self. You have the right to be sui juris or sui postais ace, that is, of self, and to be able to be oneself. Here's the issue. It's this issue of wash my hand, right hand stuff, the incarnation or reincarnation or anything. The scriptures teach that we have the right to present yourself a living sacrifice. But these guys want you to represent yourself or make yourself appear. Wait a minute. To appear? I think that has to do with witchcraft, don't it? Ghosts, goblins, spooks. They appear, don't they? There's a difference between real and fiction.
And don't forget the black-robed devils.
And the black-robed devil lives in a castle with round walls so that you can you never get caught in a corner. You run around circles. And of course, if you ever paid any attention, who served the black-robed devils? Winged monkeys. Oh, that's right. And what did they want? The black-robed devil wanted the ruby slippers in the movie, but in the book it's silver slippers. The black-robed devil wants your silver because the banksters, the Wizard of Iz, already stole the gold and built the road with it, but you can't have gold, but now you got silver and we want your silver too.
Well, Dave, in closing, tell us the significance of Friday's victory in a nutshell for folks who don't quite get it.
Okay, those who didn't get it, this is a case, federal district court, United States District Court, Northern District of New York, and this is case number 12, CR 569. And what happened on Friday is first of all, Anthony Lapin took sick. I'm not sure exactly, hospitalized. If Anthony Lapin is not able to go into court tomorrow, this case will end up being declared a mistrial. But what's also ironic is that the U.S. attorney is losing this case. Most of the defense attorneys that are there are laughing their butts out because it's boring. And Thomas, so-called Thomas Square, or Salt, was released from prison on Friday as well. Unprecedented. When a judge does that, releases a man that's been in prison that long, the judge knows that the case is going down the toilet and going down fast. And if we can get Harry Daniels versus Her Majesty the Queen into the record, he knows that this case will set a precedent and the federal government will lose control over all Indian nations throughout the United States, just as Canada has now lost all control. The Indian nations in Canada are free at last, folks.
Well, Dave,
no longer in servitude in Canada.
Dave, thanks to you and all those who've helped these guys. We're going to get this posted to YouTube and hopefully send it viral across Facebook and other platforms. We encourage people to go ahead and make copies of this. I have copyright to this recording. My name is Sean Taeschner. I'm from Seattle. My contact number is 425-247-8827. And, of course, we've been interviewing Sir David Andrew at sirdavidandrew.com. I salute your bravery, Dave, your scholarship, and your persistence. You're a true hero. And for those out there who want to try and help Dave, pass the message on. If you want to float him a few dollars, it wouldn't hurt. It's cost him hundreds of hours of his personal time in trying to help defend these headmen. And for all peoples who have ever been discriminated against, if you've got $5 in your pocket and you're going to go buy a cup of coffee, send it to this guy. I know that the Indian chiefs met with him a few weeks ago and they asked him to be their legal counsel. And I agree with that. And so anyway, Dave, thanks for your time. We'll get this out to the world and keep fighting.
Sean,
Yes.
There's one other website, lonewolfterritory.com. I recommend people go there as well because that declares sovereignty of Indian nations on that website.
Okay.
Lone Wolf Territory.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
The witnesses, some witnesses have been 4 and 6 hours on the stand. They're just dragging this thing out like the O.J. Simpson trial, trying to make a big deal out of it. However, they've squashed or suppressed any news publication of this trial. They don't want it published in the news. There's only been one article, and that was in casino.org, published an article, and that was basically what the U.S. Attorney told them to publish. And over half that article was bogus, and I wrote them a very lengthy letter citing the Riot Act and what they did, because they claimed ignorance of the law was no defense. No, the maximum of law is that ignorance of law is no excuse. The U.S. Attorney is without excuse. He is not ignorant of the law. He knows the law, and he's twisting the law, trying to make them subjective. And there's also been publications that have recently come out claiming that St. Regis is now St. Regis County, New York. Comos, ever since he took office, has been doing everything he can to annex Akwesasne to the state of New York.
By adverse possession. By adverse declaration and adverse possession.
Yes.
Yep.
And he's told these band councils, these carpetbaggers from District of Columbia, that they could be the new county legislature for St. Regis.
Yeah, the new slave whippers.
New slave whippers.
Here's your plot of land in exchange for beating on these Indians. Yep.
And then the people will be forced to pay land taxes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dave, the victory that happened Friday, November 8th in court, you said was verbal, and you were waiting, I guess, what do you call it, a mistrial at this point?
We're looking at, on Friday, because of the confusion that took place on Friday, part of the confusion is Anthony Lafton took sick and has been hospitalized. Not sure of Anthony's condition right now, whether he had a stroke or heart attack or something. He is an older man. In fact, all these gentlemen are fairly up in age, 50s, 60s, maybe 70. I think Anthony's in his 70s. I'm not sure where this is at, but the stress is real bad on them, and they were forced to take attorneys like Lamaquisier. The judge told him on the 28th or 29th, they held him into a special hearing. When we filed a petition to recuse the judge told him that either he takes an attorney or he's going to lock him up in a padded cell for 30 days. He's already had him locked up for over 325 days, but now he's going to put him in a padded cell. Give me a break. Is that Dusky, or was he doing a Ferretta? Well, he made it appear that he was going to do a Dusky on him, but it actually was a Ferretta hearing is what he was going to attempt to do. But Lala didn't understand what the judge was trying to manipulate, and he forced him to take an attorney or spend another 30 days in jail.
Well, it sounds, Dave, as if it was an unjust and malicious prosecution, and these men really didn't have an understanding of what it was they were being charged with, held indefinitely. I saw your writs of habeas corpus posted on your website that were brilliantly written, and a lot of deep historical research attached. I'm sure that there's so much there that the judges don't even know without going back to law school what the hell's happened there. But I'm proud of you. And I know you haven't been paid a dime for your services, but all Indian people should be grateful to you, Dave, for what you've done. Tell me what happened with the Chiefs last week when they invited you to their circle.
Well, first of all, on this, people need to read the writ of habeas that went to the Supreme Court of the United States. The Supreme Court has never filed that. They've never returned it. They've never answered it. They make like it doesn't even exist.